his face. I just don't see how a hatchet by itself is good enough.
Man, isn't that the Han term? Hatchet?
It is.
I'm gonna say quelling blade.
It looks like a hatchet, so that's what I always think of.
Okay. I think if you're C-Deck, you actually have to.
Oh, well, Fear! He's gonna be going down to the top lane. Oh, barely just managing to pick up that kill towards the tail end of it. Garter setting it up with the long-range Fisher. Fear just hung around a little bit too long. And C-Deck, I think this is one of the biggest things that we've seen out of the group stage in order to deal with Evil Geniuses. You got to try and shut down some of their side laners. Like we saw earlier, right, when eHome were playing up against Evil Geniuses. They first tried to deal with Sumail in the first game, but that didn't actually work out. So instead, they actually let Sumail do what he wants and started putting pressure on the side lanes. It was Universe that was really shut down by eHome.
I actually think that's I was just about to say, I think that's the strategy here, is that when you play against EG, in my opinion, no matter what, Sumail has a good game. Like, he's just the type of player that'll snowball. He plays the type of hero that'll snowball back into the game. All he needs is 1 or 2 kill streaks, and then he's fine. I actually think the better heroes to go for and kill, and PPD at top is going to get engaged on, but he should be okay.
Yeah, Flat Cannons are already down, so.
I just think that it's Fear and Universe. If you can minimize their impact, just lower the amount of farm that they get, and just make the lanes difficult for them. I think that these are the 2 heroes on EG that you want to shut down as much as possible. Like, if Klinks doesn't get a good start, C-Deck can apply so much pressure with the heroes that they have. They've got a Visage, they've got an Earthshaker. Those 2 nukes alone can almost kill them. Right. So if you're C-Deck, you just want to be able to put pressure onto the Klinks. The Tusk isn't having the best game because he had a lane against Darkseer that was constantly ion shelling, and I think you just accept that Sumail's going to have a good game. Because if he solo kills your mid and he's got 27 CS, he's just going to win this lane. Like, it's not winnable at this point. They're rotating his support and allowing the Bloodseeker to just pure jungle, and I think this is a better move than trying to challenge him. Like, he's probably going to be disruptive, but as long as you can shut out the Klinks during this time, you're going to be fine. Because there's going to be a point where Fear gets his Soul Ring and a Deso, and then he just goes around the map 3-shotting people on C-Deck. So it's important that they tempo control him early to delay that timing as much as you possibly can.
Right. You want to expand a little bit on Shiki's mid Bloodseeker that is now jungling. Obviously, he's probably kind of just been forced into this, but the general idea, most of the time we see safe lane Bloodseekers pick up like level 6 and then full-time jungle. It's a little bit different with a mid Bloodseeker. What advantages do you really see? Hold up. Top lane aggressive. He's going to be dove down. The suicide is there, plus the mine, and AUI will be able to pick up the kill in the gyrocopter.
That is so irritating to play against.
Yep.
He's just got to be frustrated more than anything. You can't really do anything about that. If you're C-Deck, you just kind of have to let wherever that happens happen. But I guess the advantage of having a Bloodseeker mid versus having it in another lane is just the levels that you get. And actually, Shiki might be going down.
Oh, Laguna Blades! Oh, it's nighttime, so Sumail couldn't actually land that one.
He's got to be careful now.
Light Strike Array still wants to go for Q. They managed to get a couple of nukes on him. The silence goes down as well, but Sumail is still operating with a double damage rune, so they need a little bit of extra help. And that's where Aggressive comes in, but Sumail is bottling up and running the long way around. Carter is here to be able to stop him, though. He's got a Fisher coming up. Light Strike Array already laid down. Not going to be able to get off the Fisher in time. Sumail will still be traded away for a support, though. Aggressive, well worth his rotation over.
Yeah, I think Sumail made the right idea there. He was trying to catch Shiki, and if he had gone the Laguna Blade, it would have been well worth it. But I think the advantage of having a mid Bloodseeker is that you can put something, you don't have to prioritize picking him like this, and you can put another better hero that does more damage into the safe lane, like the Gyrocopter or the Razor, and at top.
Once again, jumping in on Shiki. Universe, though, by himself. Like, it's a nice small combination, the snowball into the Shadow Wave, but unless you have multiple heroes, it's not going to do so much damage that you can kill a core straight up. So that's not going to happen, and the little bit of stacking that was being seen, I say little, but this is like a 5-stack.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it allows Aggressive. He did get ganked early, but he's going to get back into this pretty quickly. And this is the strength of Gyro. It's not just all of the abilities that he has that does AoE. It's that he can do these jungle stacks using the cooldown because the cooldown is so low. 55 seconds to hit twice onto a neutral stack allows you to farm it insanely quickly. Like, you don't actually need items to be able to do it, just levels. And so C-Deck it's definitely well worth the time to go for the stacks there. And if you're the Bloodseeker, that's kind of the problem here, is that Shiki's so underleveled. He's only level 5. He doesn't even have a 6 at 8 minutes, that I think it's worth it for EG to just continue to pressure him and shut him out of this game entirely. Like, Sumail did die that one time, but he's pretty much still able to go wherever he wants, because they don't want to stick Q mid with the Visage. He just can't live. And Garter isn't able to move lanes either, because he has to stay on top of wherever Sumail's going. And so Sumail by himself is pretty much eating the space of 2 heroes right now. And this is what happens when you get solo killed mid, is that it snowballs out of control like this. It has an impact on the rest of the game.
Sumail's going to have a pretty fast Eul's Scepter, in which case these cores, Bloodseeker, Gyrocopter, they're pretty susceptible to that magic damage early on. What kind of builds do you need to see for a Gyro and a Bloodseeker in order to deal with that kind of pressure?
The Bloodseeker right now just has to get whatever he can. He's about to pick up...
Does he go for the minus? The kind of recovery minus?
No, because he's struggling to get treads right now. I think that going for the Midas would pretty much render your team really passive. At that point, you would just hope that the rest of your lineup can 4v5.
Right.
And I think that's...
Oh, Fear. They caught him out. Running in with a Surge. Great combination. Once again, Fisher leading into Aggressive, being able to close the distance via Rocket Barrage damage. They are able to pick up the kill. And also, seemingly, take this Tier 1 tower. Doesn't look like any rotations are coming out from Evil Geniuses, and they don't really have great rotational heroes. Techies doesn't do anything for you. Dazzle, certainly not. And Universe by himself is not going to be good enough.
Most of EG's heroes are made for counter-initiating. They're not actually made to take fights, because how do you initiate a fight? You snowball a Tusk that isn't very farmed, who just hit level 6 in. Your Techies, you could probably blow somebody up, but then you would lose 2 heroes as a result of that almost instantly. And CDEC can fight you from here on out. So maybe it would be worth it for the Bloodseeker, actually, to still get a Midas, because I think his team actually can 4v5. Like, the Darkseer almost has a fully completed mech. He's only the Buckler away. There are enough levels right now on CDEC to survive, and Aggressive is going to farm 2 stacks at once, so his amount of farm is actually going to be really decent, too.
He's still going for the Helmet Dominator, so looking to stack up the Ancients and get that really big farm advantage. I'm still concerned that leaves him a little bit low on HP pool. Where do you go after that Helmet Dominator? Is SNY target here? Do you go for the earlier BKB?
I think SNY might be a little bit better.
Why is that?
I'm thinking about it right now. No, he should go for the BKB.
Okay.
I think you can survive pretty much anything that EG can throw at you if you get a BKB. The suicide attack will still hurt, I think, if he snowballs you from Fog. And I guess he can get Walrus punched. I don't know. Most of EG's abilities do go through Magic Immunity. Like, when Sumail gets an Aghanim Scepter, the Laguna Blade is just going to destroy him. So he probably needs some sort of stat item first after the Helm of Dom. Like, I think getting an SNY is perfectly acceptable here.
Okay. Because it kind of feels like, especially with the Eul's Scepter coming up on the Lina, if they don't have that early BKB on the Gyrocopter, they're going to need to just keep the Earthshaker near the Gyrocopter constantly in order to prevent the Eul's Light Strike Array, Laguna Blade combo that will pretty much one-shot Gyro.
Yeah. The hopes there, then, is that you trade immediately with the Lina, because once the Lina uses that combo, she's actually really susceptible to death. She has 4 armor, 872 HP. You never really want to be in a position where you're not looking for one-for-one pickoffs there.
Yeah.
You're just looking to find one hero and kill. If you run into multiple heroes, it's almost like you don't want to do that unless you're in the far back line and you have backup with you. So that's kind of the weakness right now of EG's lineup. Is if they get into a 5v5 fight, you can almost anticipate them losing 2 heroes pretty quickly. And so they have to be really smart about how they take these engagements. And if you notice, they're not really trying to take these engagements. Like, they're just trying to split up and farm, create as much pressure as possible. And this is what I was talking about. When Fear plays Clinks, he just gets the Soul Ring Treads, and then he kind of just goes around, looking for opportunities, scouting out heroes. And that's why they wanted to gank him early, to slow this kind of timing down. 'Cause normally he does this around 9 minutes.
Eternal Envy does that quite a lot too, where he just he picks up his Clink and just full time in the enemy jungle, bouncing back and forth between the safe lane and the mid laner. And just, jungles up. He finds an opportunity to get a kill. Middle lane, they're going to be able to take out XD. Big pick off there. Sumail finally makes use of that Eul's Scepter. We also saw earlier the Techie suicide. That was pretty obvious what was going to happen. So nothing very special about that. CDEC, despite missing their Darkseer, are going to go ahead and try and take an early Roshan. This is the advantage of having Blood Rage on your team. The increased damage. They also have a very early Medallion from Q. And it seems like, due to the lack of vision from Evil Geniuses, they're not going to be able to spot this one out in time.
This is so huge from C-Deck right now. This is the safest objective that they can go for because they don't know where the mines are. They don't want to have to focus on that, and they realize that EG just can't fight into them right now. Like, the Earthshaker plus their supports are just better. Alina can't really do much against the lineup that C-Deck have, especially once she blows her Yule Scepter, and there's not much that can protect her. Like, the Dazzle can grave for you, sure, but Dazzle's not an offensive hero. Techies is definitely not an offensive hero. It's like a passive-aggressive hero. You wait for people to die to you first, and then you can get aggressive on the map. But C-Deck have an incredible 5-man roster, and I'm a little bit worried right now for EG because with that Aegis, it's going to allow Aggressive to get really aggressive on the map. The Bloodseeker is steadily starting to catch up. Like, he hasn't died in quite some time. His CS still isn't the best, but you never really want to be in a position where you just kind of allow him to get back into the game for free, and that's what's happening right now.
I'm slightly concerned if this is going to be a problem, the 5-man from C-Deck. I'm concerned that we see Fear going for Medallion. It's pretty normal for Clinks, but I almost feel like you need to speed up your Desolator timing just to give you more split push pressure in order to kind of offset the very clear 5-man that C-Deck will be able to accomplish.
I think going for the Medallion is still okay. It's not ideal in these types of games, but you're going to go for the Deso anyways, and it does increase your damage for free. For 900, it's really cheap. And then you go for the Solar Crest, which is incredibly strong against a Bloodseeker who's so underfarmed. Right. Like, maybe he does still go for a Midas, because the rest of his team is doing really well. And the Gyrocopter is going to go for the SNY, which makes sense, right, if you think about it. If he goes to the BKB first, he still needs the SNY for the stats. Because there's so much that goes to the BKB. Like, there's actually no reason for him not to go for this. Otherwise, he'd have to go for something like a Satanic first for the raw HP pull, or a Scotty, and he doesn't want to do either of those things. Going for the SNY allows him to fight. And I think when you're this far ahead, going for drums is just game losing. Like, you want to build into the late game.
Right. C-Deck start pushing on that tier 1 tower. You can see Q trying to wrap around here, does place a rather aggressive ward, but not